All right, so back in 2015, I remember I was 12 years old and I went outside to go play basketball. We had a basketball hoop outside, and to give you the layout of the property I was living on, I it was a long gravel driveway, and the basketball hoop was sitting on the end of the driveway, sitting on one end of the driveway and closest to the house. So I was there playing basketball, just doing basketball things. I was big into basketball, not anymore. So and on the other end of the other end of the driveway is where the road is, and it's not that long of a driveway. It's probably around like 30, 40 feet. But I remember I was just playing basketball, and I look behind me, and also the road I lived on was very desolate. Not many people lived there. It was maybe four houses lived on that road. It was right up, but but I mean, it was right outside of town, so it was popular, I guess, but not really. But I remember I looked behind me, and there's two people walking down the road, and I'm like, okay, just just people walk down the road all the time, and I just go back to what I'm doing, and then I look behind me again, and they're walking in the driveway, and I'm like, oh no. So for some reason I chucked the basketball, but not at them. Now I lived right next to a cornfield as well. Very like but the corn wasn't there. It was just a field, and I just, out of pure panic, adrenaline, I just said, "Fuck this basketball," and I chucked that basketball. I might have kicked it, honestly. Adrenaline. Don't remember. Um, and I don't think I found that basketball. By the way, I don't think I found it. I think I lost it forever. So fuck those people. And I also, so after I threw it, I ran inside, and the house is right next to me, right next to me. I run up the stairs to the deck. There's a deck that I lived on, but I didn't live on the deck. There's a deck that I had to walk up towards, take a left, and there's this mud room that you go in, and there's a door right there. I didn't shut that door. It's very important. I didn't shut that door, but you go past the mud room, and you enter another door, and it leads into the kitchen, and this is where the house is. And so I shut the door. I opened the door to the kitchen. I shut the door. I and to give you some context, the lock that was on the kitchen door, it was a very old door, very old door. It was one of those, what do you call them, the lock where pull it pull it in. I don't know what it's called. Somebody correct me in the comments. But I didn't shut that yet. I ran past the door. The kitchen has two windows sitting right where I was, like right facing right outside where I was playing basketball. So I ran past those, and I hid right behind a wall that was in the dining room. And I was just, I remember sucking in and just like standing there in pure panic. But then I remembered, and this is I'm very proud of myself for what I did here. I remembered, I was like, I didn't lock the fucking door. Lock the door. And in a moment of, this is right out of a fucking movie for me. I just remember leaping out, leaping out of the fucking corner, and I was like, I remember in slow motion. It was fucking awesome. I remember just like, I see the people walking past the windows, and I'm like, no! I get there just in time. I lock the doors, and I run back to the corner, hide behind the corner, suck myself in. I'm like, meanwhile, I had two dogs at the time. One was a pit bull, and one was a wiener dog. I don't know why, but for some reason, I I locked them. I locked them in their. I locked them in a room because my thought was I don't want. What if they have a gun? What if they have a knife? I watched a lot of true crime, way too young of age to watch true crime, but I was prepared. Probably a cause of my anxiety as well, but that doesn't matter. I was like, no way. They probably have a gun. They probably have a knife. So I locked them in a room. And thinking back on it, I probably should have just let them out and let them bark, and they probably would have scared them away. But we're past that now. I'm still here. I'm still living. Still breathing. They're not. But um, anyways, but so I remember just like sucking myself behind the one of the corners of the wall, and I was just like my fucking heart was racing, and like I hear them, and then I hear the people. Uh, and this I found this out after there was actually three people. There was two men and a woman, and I remember two grown men and a woman. And I remember just like I hear them. I hear the footsteps walking towards the door, and I was like, the door, okay. And I just hear I'm frozen in fear. I'm frozen in fear. I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know about you guys, but like when it comes to scary stuff, by me, that's why I titled this video "The Scariest Thing That Has Ever Happened to Me," because I find this kind of stuff way scarier than like anything paranormal. And I've had some paranormal things happen to me, unexplainable things. I might talk about this in a future video, but to me, I find this stuff, because this happens all the time, this stuff way scarier. But anyway, I hear the and it becomes more rapid, and I don't move. I don't move. The dogs are going crazy. The dogs are going crazy, and I'm like, I don't. I think I started crying at this point. I think I started crying. I'm a very sensitive kid. I just start, and then it turns into banging on the door, and I'm like, oh fuck, oh fuck. These people want to do harm. Why are they banging on the fucking door? I didn't swear as a kid, but I just hear it. And then my biggest fear, and this is the moment where I was like, "Oh, you fucking smart, you smart child, you smart child." I hear them try the doorknob, and I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, "Why are they trying to get in the house?" On the other hand, I'm like, "I fucking locked the door." I remember being so proud of myself. I was like, it felt like a choose your own adventure where it was like, if you lock the door, if you don't lock the door, I locked the door, and it saved, I might have saved my life. I might have been dead. Who knows? But I remember trying. They kept trying the doorknob, and I was like, I and I just remember I think I remember just like, and then I ran upstairs. I ran upstairs to the second floor, and I was like, I'm safe here. And I remember calling the cops and being like, there's a man in there's people in my house. There's people in my house. And they were like, and then so the cops showed up. Um I didn't go outside. My parents went outside. I stayed inside crying because I was a child again. Traumatic thing happened, and I was like, I don't want to go outside. I'm just a little boy. I'm just gonna stay inside. But my parents went outside, and there was a lot of screaming, from both sides of the party. There was like three cop cars. I and this is the part that confuses me. The people weren't arrested. I still to this day have no idea. I still have no idea what these people wanted, what these people like. So if I didn't lock the door, which I did, uh, what were they gonna do? What were they gonna do? I didn't know, but they weren't arrested, which really confused me. I don't know the laws. Maybe it's like, you know, I don't know, but like it was like they were being quite aggressive and they were trying to get inside my house. Um, And I was like, why weren't they arrested? I what if they just come back the next time and do the same exact thing? And I'm like, uh, apparently they went when they went over to my neighbor's house. They asked to use the phone, and my neighbors, I don't know what they did, but they didn't ask to use the phone. They tried to break into my house, and I'm like, uh, uh, no phone here, man. Sorry. But I, but at the end of the day, I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. Nothing's like I've never had a home invasion story afterwards. Knock on something. There's no wood in here. That's not wood. That's something else. Ignore that. But I don't know what happened. It still baffles me to this day. Why did they try and break into my house? What were they planning? I don't know. And I don't really like to think about it much, but it's a fun story. It's a fun story to tell. Very fun story. It's a story that it's something I think about all the time. That it's one of the it's why it's one of the most one of the scariest things that has ever happened to me. It's like someone tried to break into my house, and I find that to be much scarier than anything paranormal. Um, but yeah, that's that's what happened. That's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. I want to hear your own stories. So share in the comments about what is the scariest thing that ever happened to you, if you feel safe doing so. And let me know, and I'll read them. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.